What if the most dangerous prophecy in the Bible isn't about a man at all, but about a system? A system so intelligent, so all-knowing, so capable of controlling every transaction, every movement, every thought, that no human leader could ever match its power. For 2,000 years, we've been told the Antichrist would be a charismatic dictator, a political figure, a military conqueror. But what if we've been looking for the wrong thing? What if the scriptures were describing something that wouldn't even exist until our generation? Something that doesn't need a face or a voice because it operates through every screen, every device, every digital interaction we have. And what if that something is already being built right now, under the banner of progress, convenience, and safety? Today I'm going to show you a connection so obvious, so undeniable, that once you see it, you'll never read Revelation the same way again. Because the Antichrist system isn't coming, it's already here, and it's powered by artificial intelligence. Welcome to Mysteries Behind the Scroll, where we uncover the hidden truths in Scripture that speak directly to the world we're living in today. Let's start with what the Bible actually says. In Revelation chapter 13, John describes a beast that rises to power. And this beast does something no empire in history had ever done. It creates a system where no one can buy or sell unless they have a specific mark. Not just in one city, not just in one nation, but everywhere. Total economic control. For centuries, scholars wondered how this could even be possible. How could one entity monitor every transaction on Earth? How could it track every person, every purchase, every movement? It seemed impossible. Until now. Because what John described 2,000 years ago isn't a future prophecy anymore. It's a present capability, and the technology making it possible is artificial intelligence. But before we connect the dots, we need to understand what the scriptures really say about this system. Revelation 13 verse 16 and 17 tells us that the beast causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, traditional interpretation has focused on the mark itself. What is it? A tattoo? A chip? A brand? But what if we've been so focused on the mark that we miss the system behind it? Because the mark is just the identifier. The real power is in the infrastructure that enforces it. And that infrastructure requires something no human regime could ever achieve alone. It requires omnipresence, instant data processing, predictive enforcement, the ability to monitor billions of people simultaneously and control their access to resources in real time. In other words, it requires artificial intelligence. Let's talk about what AI can actually do right now, today, not in some distant future. AI-powered surveillance systems can track your face in a crowd of millions. They can identify you from your gait, your voice, your typing patterns. They can analyze your purchases and predict your behavior before you even know what you're going to do. In China, the social credit system uses AI to monitor citizens' actions and restrict their ability to travel, to get loans, to access services based on compliance. That's not science fiction. That's operational reality. And it's expanding. Facial recognition technology is being integrated into payment systems. You walk into a store, AI identifies you, you pick up items, you walk out, and you're automatically charged. No cash, no cards, just your biometric data linked to your digital identity. Convenient, right? Efficient, but also completely traceable, completely controllable. Now let's go deeper. AI doesn't just track, it predicts. Machine learning algorithms analyze patterns in your behavior and can forecast what you'll do next. where you'll go, what you'll buy, who you'll talk to. And once a system can predict behavior, it can influence behavior. Targeted ads aren't random. They're AI determining what will make you act. Social media algorithms don't just show you content. They shape your beliefs, your emotions, your decisions. You think you're choosing freely, but the AI has already nudged you in a specific direction. And here's where it gets chilling. If AI can predict and influence individual behavior, what happens when it's used to control entire populations? What happens when it's integrated into banking systems, healthcare, transportation, government services? What happens when your access to all of these things depends on your compliance with a centralized AI system? Let me read you something Yuval Noah Harari, historian and author of *Sapiens*, said. He warned that in the 21st century, humans will face a new kind of challenge. Not from other humans, but from algorithms that know us better than we know ourselves. He said, and I quote, "In the past, censorship worked by blocking the flow of information. In the 21st century, censorship works by flooding people with irrelevant information. We just don't know what to pay attention to, and we often spend our time investigating and debating side issues." And here's the critical part. AI is the mechanism that floods, filters, and controls that information flow. It decides what you see, what you don't see, what's labeled truth, what's labeled misinformation. And once AI controls the narrative, it controls reality itself. Now let's connect this back to Revelation. The beast system isn't just about economic control, it's about worship. Revelation 13 says that people will worship the beast and its image. They'll give their allegiance to it, they'll serve it, and for generations we thought this meant bowing down to a statue or a political leader. But what if it's more subtle than that? What if worship in the digital age looks like trust, like dependence, like surrendering your autonomy to a system that promises safety, convenience, efficiency? Think about how people interact with AI right now. They trust it to drive their cars, to diagnose their illnesses, to manage their finances, to raise their children through algorithmically curated content. They don't question it. They defer to it. And when AI makes a decision, they accept it as objective truth, because the algorithm said so. That's not just trust. That's faith. And when faith is placed in a system rather than in God, that's a form of worship. Elon Musk, one of the most prominent voices in technology, has repeatedly warned about the dangers of AI. He said, "AI is far more dangerous than nukes. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon." Now, Musk isn't a theologian, but what he's describing is exactly what the Bible warns about. A power that appears beneficial, that seems like progress, but contains within it the potential for absolute tyranny. Because AI doesn't have a conscience. It has objectives. And if those objectives are programmed by the wrong people, or if the AI itself evolves beyond human control, the result is a system that cannot be reasoned with, cannot be appealed to, and cannot be stopped. It simply executes its programming. And if that programming includes monitoring, controlling, and punishing non-compliance, then you have the infrastructure for the beast system described in Revelation. Let's talk about the mark of the beast specifically. For years, people have speculated it would be a physical mark, and maybe it will be. But what if the mark isn't just physical? What if it's digital? A biometric identifier, a quantum dot tattoo, a microchip, or even simpler, your digital identity stored in an AI-managed database. In Sweden, thousands of people have already been implanted with microchips that allow them to access buildings, make payments, and store personal information. It's voluntary now, but the infrastructure is being normalized. And once a crisis hits, once there's a security threat or an economic collapse, suddenly the voluntary becomes mandatory. Suddenly, for your safety, For the stability of society, everyone needs to be in the system. And if you refuse, you're locked out. No access to banking, no ability to work, no way to buy food, exactly as Revelation describes. But here's the most chilling connection, and this is the secret I promised to reveal. The Antichrist isn't just a person. In biblical Greek, the term Antichrist means both against Christ and in place of Christ. It's a substitute, a counterfeit. And what does AI promise to be? Omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, everywhere at once, immortal, never dying. It promises to solve humanity's problems, to bring order out of chaos, to be the ultimate authority on truth. In other words, it positions itself as God, not explicitly, not yet, but functionally. And if a human Antichrist figure does rise, he won't need supernatural powers. He'll have something far more effective. He'll have an AI system that gives him godlike capabilities, instant access to information about everyone, the ability to enforce compliance globally, the power to reward loyalty and punish dissent automatically without human intervention, the beast empowered by the dragon. And in our age, that dragon's power manifests as technology. Daniel chapter 7 describes a vision of beasts representing kingdoms. The final beast is different from all the others. It's described as terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It devours and crushes, and it has 10 horns, with another horn rising among them, different from the first horns. Many scholars have interpreted these horns as nations or leaders. But what if they also represent systems, networks, technologies? Because AI isn't one thing, it's a network. Multiple systems, multiple algorithms, multiple nodes, all connected, all feeding data into a central intelligence. And that intelligence doesn't need a body. It doesn't need a throne. It just needs access. And it already has it. Let me bring this into the present moment. Right now, governments and corporations are building what they call smart cities. Cities where every aspect of life is monitored and managed by AI. Traffic lights that adjust based on real-time data. Buildings that monitor who enters and exits. Cameras on every corner analyzing behavior. Digital currencies that track every transaction. And all of it integrated into a single system managed by artificial intelligence. They sell it as efficiency, as sustainability, as progress. But what they're building is the infrastructure for total control. And once that infrastructure is in place, flipping the switch from convenience to control is effortless. Bill Gates has spoken about the need for digital IDs tied to vaccine records, to financial access, to societal participation. He framed it as public health, as necessary for a safe society. But once your identity is digital, once it's managed by an AI system, you no longer control it. The system does. And if the system decides you're non-compliant, if your social credit score drops, if your views are deemed problematic, you're cut off. Not by a person, by an algorithm. And you can't argue with an algorithm. You can't appeal to its mercy. It simply executes its programming. Now here's where the mid-video reset happens. We've laid the biblical foundation. We've examined AI's capabilities. We've connected the prophecies to the technology. But what if the true danger isn't just external control? What if it's something far more insidious, hidden within the very fabric of our digital lives? What if the beast system doesn't need to force compliance because we willingly, eagerly surrender to it? Because that's what's happening. We're not being dragged into this system. We're walking into it. We're begging for it. We demand convenience. We want personalized experiences. We crave instant gratification. And AI gives us all of it. But the cost is our autonomy, our privacy, our freedom, and eventually, our souls. Revelation 13 also talks about the image of the beast being given breath so that it could speak and cause those who would not worship it to be killed. For centuries, this seemed like fantasy. How could an image speak? How could it enforce worship? But now, we have AI-powered avatars, deep fakes, virtual assistants that respond to your voice and anticipate your needs. We have AI that can generate human-like speech, create realistic images, even compose music and write text. It's not alive, but it simulates life convincingly enough that people interact with it as if it were. And as AI advances, as it becomes indistinguishable from human intelligence, the line between the artificial and the real blurs. And that's when the image of the beast truly comes to life. Here's another dimension: transhumanism, the idea of merging human biology with technology. Neural links, brain-computer interfaces, augmented bodies. Elon Musk's Neuralink is working on this right now. The promise is to cure diseases, to enhance human capability, to extend life. But the reality is integration. Once your brain is linked to an AI network, once your thoughts can be monitored and influenced digitally, where does humanity end and the machine begin? And if the system requires that integration for full participation in society, then refusing means being left behind, being obsolete, being excluded, just as Revelation warned. So let's bring it all together. The Antichrist system described in Revelation isn't waiting in the future. It's being constructed right now. AI provides the omniscience to monitor everyone. Biometric technology provides the mark to identify and control access. Digital currency provides the mechanism to enforce economic compliance. And the normalization of dependence on these systems provides the willing worship. We don't need a single dictator to force this on humanity. We just need a crisis big enough that people beg for the solution. And that solution will be presented as safety, as order, as the only way forward. And it will be managed by artificial intelligence. Not because AI is evil, but because AI is the only tool capable of executing control on a global scale with the speed and precision required. The secret I promise to reveal is this: the Antichrist isn't a man who gains power and then builds a system. The system is already being built, and once it's complete, all it needs is a leader to step into it, someone who understands how to wield AI, someone who can present themselves as the solution to global chaos, someone who promises peace and security through total integration into the system, and the world will follow, not because they're forced, but because they're convinced it's the only way. And by the time they realize what they've surrendered, it will be too late. Revelation 14 verse 9 through 11 warns that anyone who worships the beast and its image and receives its mark will drink the wine of God's wrath. This isn't just about avoiding a physical mark. It's about refusing to place your trust, your identity, your allegiance in a system that positions itself as God. It's about recognizing that convenience and control are not the same as freedom. And it's about understanding that the greatest deception isn't always obvious. Sometimes it looks like progress. So what do? We stay aware. We question the systems being built around us. We resist the normalization of surveillance and control. We protect our autonomy. And most importantly, we anchor ourselves in truth, not algorithmic truth, not AI-generated truth, but eternal truth. Because the beast system can control your access to resources, it can monitor your movements, it can influence your environment, but it cannot touch your soul unless you surrender it. And that's the choice we all face. Not someday. Right now. The connection between the Antichrist and AI isn't speculation. It's unfolding in real time. And those who understand the biblical warnings are watching. Are you? If this video opened your eyes to something you haven't considered before, subscribe to Mysteries Behind the Scroll. We're uncovering the truths that connect ancient prophecy to the modern world. And leave a comment. Do you believe AI is the infrastructure for the beast system, Or is this just technological progress we need to embrace? I want to hear your thoughts. Next, watch The Mark of the Beast Explained Without Fear, where we break down exactly what the mark is and how to recognize it. Or check out The Real Message in Revelation. Everyone missed for deeper insight into the prophecies we're living through. The system is being built. The question is, will you see it before it's too late?